Hello class, so in this video we're going to be talking about convergence and divergence. So right now I'm going to be introducing basically series on, series. Sequences and series, that's the last topic for Calc AB. So here's some concepts to understand first before really getting into those things. First thing is what the word sequence means. So A sub n, that is called a sequence because basically what it is just you got a sub n equals, I don't know, for instance, like 1, 3, 5, 7, dot, dot, dot. That would be like all odd numbers. So that's a sequence that has those things in it. And if we want to add them a lot of times, in this case, we'll say capital N times, then this is called the nth partial sum of a sub n. And then if we add them infinitely, then this is called an infinite sum, otherwise known as an infinite series. So those words, I'll be using those, so just make sure you understand what they mean. And so let's talk about what convergence means. So a sequence converges to something L if the limit as n approaches infinity of a sub n equals L. So basically, we want the last terms, like the infinite terms, to converge to something, to get closer and closer to something. So think the concept of a horizontal asymptote. This is actually basically the same thing, because a sub n is basically like a function, but it's called a discrete function. Because a function would do something like this, versus a sub n would do something like this. So it would just go by points. Okay, so if a sub n doesn't converge to something, then it does something called diverge. So it doesn't get close to a number, it just gets away from any number. Or it could do something called oscillating, so like going up and down. So think the same thing as, converging is the same thing as limit exists. Or at least the same concept. And diverge means limit does not exist. Or at least the same concept. Okay, so how about a series? A series will converge if the sum, the nth partial sum, converges to some value s. So, for instance, if you have like 1 plus 3 plus 7 plus 5, that is definitely not going to converge because that's going to turn into some huge infinite number, right? Versus if you have something like 1/4 plus 1/9 plus 1/25, etc. Or I probably should have put plus 1/16 there. But basically, this type of thing, it looks like it might converge because things are getting really small, but do we know for sure right now? Not really. But yeah, spoiler alert, it actually does. Anyway, so if it doesn't converge, then it'll, of course, diverge. So how do we determine these things? For sequences, all you really need to do is take the limit. And that's literally it, because all you're looking for, again, similar to horizontal asymptotes, the limit as n approaches infinity if a sub n equals whatever, or doesn't exist. Series, that gets really complicated because you're adding things infinitely, right? So I'll talk about that in this series of videos. No pun intended. Alright, so you're in Calc BC, you're in the last unit. I'm going to assume that you can do limits, so I'm not going to do any examples, but I'll leave these here and you can try doing those on your own and check to see if they converge or diverge. I'll post the solutions in the description at some point. If you're watching this at least 2 or 3 days after it was uploaded, it's definitely there. If you're watching the day of, maybe not yet. But yeah, so that's the end of this. Just a quick video introducing some concepts and ideas before we actually get into how sequences and series work. Alright, so hopefully that was helpful. See you in the next video.